Welcome to the next chapter in fixing up this old blue Corrado. Let's get started.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go! Hit it! Welcome.
So for the first time, I've got the car up on the hoist, and we can get a realistic idea of what's going on. The reason why the car is up on the hoist, besides inspection, is the fuel tank has to come out. I replaced the fuel pump in the tank already because there's an access panel, but there was so much sludge in the bottom of this tank that if I apply power to the fuel pump, it's gonna destroy the fuel system, really. The other fuel pump showed up, so we're gonna pull this guy down right here and get that taken care of, and just get to do an inspection, really. I mean, this is a Michigan car, so it's got a little bit of rust, but not bad. I mean, that's just the muffler, really. The rest of it, you know, like there's surface rust on here. It just flakes off, right? But it's not deep at all. Basically, I knock this down with a wire wheel, and I get some like POR 15 on there. That'll be the preventative measure that it needs to ensure that it stays well into the future. The underbody side of things doesn't look too bad. There's just a little speck of surface rust right here. It looks like somebody maybe hit the trailer loading and unloading, or I don't know. Odd. Crap on my... That's why I'm not wearing a hat. Need a haircut anyway. How's the control arm bushings? Grab a light. Wow, not bad actually. I will eventually replace the control arm bushings regardless, because using the R32 ones, it's a solid rubber bush instead of gaps in the middle to make it a little bit softer. I find it really helps the performance of the handling a little bit. And this car is a 100% stock. By 100% stock, I mean that I can't even put the jack under the subframe right here, because the power steering hose and its bracket that holds it up is in place. The brake ducts are in place. The stock intercooler is in place. The charcoal canister is in place. All these things that are the first things to get ripped off a Corrado when you first start modifying it are still on here. Every bracket, every bolt, every wire is here, at least on the drivetrain. Missing some seat belts, but that's a different story. So it's all here. It's all in pretty good shape. Just for the sake of my sanity, I am going to wire wheel and clean up and paint the oil pan and the subframe, or not the subframe, the rear beam. The subframe actually looks pretty good. The control arms need a little bit of attention there, just starting to surface rust. So they'll definitely be okay. And then I'll paint those when I go to do control arm bushings later on. I have pre-soaked the bolts that hold the gas tank straps up in PB Blaster. These gas tank straps are starting to rust out. Luckily, replacement straps aren't too expensive, but it looks like there's enough material there I can just knock this down and paint it. So you can see the bolts for the gas tank straps up here, and then this whole thing, the filler neck and everything, is kind of one piece, and there's some bolts up in there, which won't be too bad at all to deal with. So I just got to take this tire off, make sure everything's unhooked upstairs, and then find a way to support this. I'll probably put it on that cart, undo the bolts, and raise the car up off the gas tank. Theory. Apparently it don't sound good. Well, she's working. Ah! Yeah, the clunking noise. Yeah. Okay. I like how it's set up. It's so modular. Probably gonna need another set of injectors. We'll see. We'll see. Strainer's not in bad shape. So I noticed something with the exhaust just now. This is the mid muffler, the suitcase muffler. And this is the rear muffler. And right here, if I wiggle this, there's a crack right there. So, we got that one starting to soak. And we got this one starting to soak. I don't really expect them to come off. I will probably just get out the Sawzall and cut it off. And then I'll just buy a piece of pipe from the auto parts store tomorrow. Weld it back in. Well, it's the next day. I've been to the auto parts store to pick up a few supplies, and I have started reassembling. Before the tank can go in, I wanted to get this external fuel pump sorted out, just because with the tank gone, I can route the lines back up there and stuff, and I don't know, I just feel like I have a little more freedom. The tank sat overnight. There's a damp spot there in the bottom, and that's really about it. So it's dry enough that when you put 5 gallons of fresh fuel in it, it's not going to make a difference what's lingering around in there. So let me get that back together, get that up in there. Here's the painted rear beam after taking all the rust off and putting some chemical rust converting paint on there, and that'll hopefully keep it okay for a while, right? So next we're going to fix the exhaust. The exhaust got in my way.
Why you gotta be like that?
One pile of rust later, the middle muffler has been removed. So I need to fix this up and clean this up. This sits up there. It's just going to make a 90, leaving just the muffler in the rear, which is actually fairly complete looking by comparison. So good thing I deburred that shit. Oh, fuck. So here it is tacked up. You can see where I need to weld here. Don't worry about that. You can see there's a gap here. I'm going to show you how I'm going to take care of that. And then there's this. This actually expands out. Technically speaking, I should have replaced this entire piece of pipe with one that matches the diameter of this here. But really, if I go beyond stock on this car, it's going to get a different exhaust altogether. So that's fine. That will maintain optimal flow, like exhaust velocity for this 1.8 liter anyway. So I've got this tacked up, and I like where it's at. The muffler hangs fairly center, so it's not gonna burn anything or rub on anything. We're not gonna drag anything. Actually, without that there, it's just much better. Cool. Let's weld it up. All right, so here's how I plan to close that gap. Take my torch. I'm gonna heat this up. Until it starts to glow. When you start to see that orange color around the flame, you know you're getting close to that temperature. I see a little bit of orange there at the end. So you heat that up, and this will be hard to do one-handed, but you take a torch, I have to turn it off so it doesn't catch any fire, and then you take the round end of a ball peen hammer. You give it a smack, and because the metal's soft, it easily closes the gap. And so now I'll weld that up, and then I'll go to the opposite side, and you always want to switch back and forth so you don't do a lot of welding on one side and change the way that the pipe's held on there. So zip that up and continue. Here's the chassis fuel pump, fuel filter. Rebuilt and reattached. The stock rubber mounts were destroyed, and so I came up with an alternative means of mounting. It's just as good as the original. Got rid of some rusty stuff. Painted this to hopefully keep it from rusting. Tank's back up. Other fuel pumps installed, gas is in it. Here's the exhaust. It's not my best work, but that's what I get. I'm not used to welding this inside the car. I'm used to having the piece out on the table. But it doesn't leak, and that's what's important. It's strong, and it doesn't leak. And I think it looks pretty good without that mid-muffler there. And it doesn't hang below the car or anything like that, so we're good there. For the first time in more than 5 years, I'm going to do off and on to prime it up. I just have to crank it. Oh, the wheels are spinning? It's in neutral. Transmission's just nice and tight. is possible that the fuel injectors are completely blocked. So I'm going to check and see if we have fuel pressure. Nothing coming out?
Drops. Now. Now. Yeah.
Okay. Is it actually going into the oil pan?
Sure.
All right. Fuel comes out of the fuel filter. Will it make it to the engine? Find out in the next video. Who do you think we are? Mighty Car Mods? Nah. So, with no firings of any kind, I figure the fuel injectors and pressure regulator are in the same dilapidated state as the rest of the fuel system, and therefore they're coming out. Now, oh, good Lord. This stuff's never been touched. Like, I cut a zip tie that was last installed by Volkswagen. Huh. Huh. It's an honor. Okay. But the duct tape isn't mine, by the way. Well, I guess it is by inheritance. I didn't put it there. Alright. These two. Base of the windshield is a great parts tray. This was never a fun job. That's why I moved to the VR6. It's not that bad, really. But counterflow engines, well, they've benefited from the design changes over the years by moving away from them altogether. Well, I'll just do what I normally do. Take all the bolts out until something can be removed. After taking a few components off and turning the engine over, I used my 3/8 drive extension and Allen end, and I tapped on the fuel injectors and I got a pop out of it. And so I think it might actually start this time. So I put everything back together. I didn't take any fuel injectors out or anything like that. So here we go. After 4 years of sitting, or maybe even longer than that, I think we're finally going to hear it. Here we go. my cylinder, so we're one cylinder down at least, and it's normal for a car to smoke like this after it's getting hot for the first time in a long time. My worry is that something might have built a nest up here. No, it actually all feels relatively okay, and I'm not seeing any fuel leaks. And yes, right behind you. Okay. Well, I'm gonna start it again and let her run. These are running, so. headlights on? Can you tell?
Turn them off and on again.
Turn them off? Okay, let me turn them off. Okay, they're off.
Okay, now turn them on.
Can you tell? No? I'll turn them on. Okay, can you tell? Oh, I guess up against the building you can tell. Mildly disappointing. The driver's side one is aimed really high. Not that anyone would ever notice. Hey, the fuel gauge is registering something now. I don't know if that's accurate. I put 10 gallons in it. It says I have 6. I was gonna say, these aren't gonna work yet. Attack of the foam must have happened because I get air out of all the vents. The cigarette lighter is perpetually lighting.
She really stopped over there.
Yeah, dude, this fucking lady. Like, how much time are you going to spend here? And like, whether you're pointed that way or that way or that way or that way, it doesn't matter. Like, the road isn't changing at all.
She's gonna cause an accident.
She is totally going to cause an accident.
Maybe we should try and help her. I'm not walking over there though.
There's no wiper. What the fuck?
Alright, let's go talk to her.